This season, I thought the 49ers had peaked as an organization. I did not think they'd win a Super Bowl. And I feel like they're the poker player that's been playing full tilt for years. And you know what? They can still mop up on the guys in the neighborhood, but when they play the top players, they've been going full tilt for too long. They're beat up. They're old. I think Detroit is a younger, better version of San Francisco. And I said that was my prediction going into the season, is that the dynasties that last in this league, you have a majority of your best players at the right positions and in their prime. And Debo's banged up. He was sick yesterday. And then Ayuk had a drop, and he was loud in the offseason. Perhaps now there's an ACL problem this morning. We'll wait for that. But if you look at the great dynasties in the history of this league, you can go back to Lombardi and Bart Starr and Bradshaw and Knoll. You can go to, Aikman and Jimmy Johnson and Montana and Bill Walsh, Brady Belichick, Mahomes Reed. It's always about a legendary quarterback and a top coach. Brock Purdy's not legendary. And Kyle Shanahan increasingly is a very good coach. But if you look at Purdy and Kyle Shanahan, you can't deny this. You take out Christian McCaffrey from those two. They're not very good in the red zone, not terribly adaptable, and completely limited in the red zone. I mean, you take any player you want.
Let me just add right now that the Chiefs are even worse than the 49ers, or maybe like right now it's more equal in the red zone. And that's with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, the GOAT coach and the GOAT now or future GOAT quarterback. So why are you expecting Shanahan and Purdy to be magically better than that? You need pieces. You need the Christian McCaffreys. You need the Rashee Rices, the Pachecos, the Tyreek Hills, the Ayuks, Debos. You need weapons. If it was just a coach and a quarterback, then why is Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, who are in their true dynasty, who Patrick Mahomes is the Patrick Mahomes, why are they so bad in the red zone? Exactly.
Tyreek Hill, Rashee Rice, Isaiah Pacheco, a right tackle. You can take anybody out of Kansas City. They're still magic in the red zone.
No,
because
they're not.
Andy is more adaptable, clever. You take just Christian McCaffrey out of San Francisco, and Purdy and Shanahan are good.
Okay, we're going to go right back to this, but look. I just had to pull this up. This is the red zone efficiency. You have Kansas City at 47. Where are we now? At 47.83% for the season. They're 25th. Okay? The 49ers are 45%. So the Kansas City Chiefs are at the bottom. They're not special. They can kick field goals. I got news for you. Most people can kick field goals. Philadelphia Eagles, who a lot of people don't think are good, are better. The Denver Broncos are better. The Pittsburgh Steelers are better. The Indianapolis Colts are better. The New York Jets are better. So this idea that the Kansas City Chiefs are good, congratulations. They're beating out the New England Patriots, the New York Giants, the Dallas Cowboys, Miami, and the Chargers. So let's stop with that. That's just nonsense.
And so maybe when he comes back, that changes everything, but it also creates a real truth, is that Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan, and I like both, they're both good, but they're kind of like McCaffrey dependent. Chiefs aren't Pacheco dependent or Rashee Rice dependent or Tyreek Hill dependent. I mean, there are games when Travis Kelce isn't around.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Defense dependent.
So, I mean, I've seen this thing 5 times, and yesterday was really stark. It was in Santa Clara. I mean, it's one thing if you're missing players and you're at home. When you're on the road and missing multiple stars, what does that tell you? I never thought this game felt like Kansas City when the Niners didn't buy into the fake punt, and then they got an early pick and they couldn't get any points out of it. And you're looking first quarter, second quarter, 7-3 Kansas City. You're like, you can't squander opportunities like that. So increasingly, Shanahan and Brock Purdy are very reliant on a guy that's not around Christian McCaffrey. They're a bad red zone team without him. Kansas City's a great red zone team, regardless. As long as Reed and Mahomes are there, regardless. Here's Shanahan on Brock Purdy's rough day.
We didn't do anything really good on offense. You know, I know he'd love to have all 3 of those picks back. So Brock's been playing unbelievable this year. Done some good things in offense this year, but today wasn't that day.
All right.
All right, indeed. As I had already showed you, I don't know why Colin is saying that, because it's been known that the Kansas City Chiefs this season have not been good in the red zone. I think they finally just moved up. Before they were like 30th or something. Like, they were bad. They were at the bottom. Even First Things First talked about it, and they asked Nick Wright, "What does this mean?" And Nick Wright was like, So I'm confused. I'm confused by this. You need people. You need weapons. Again, it's not to say that the 49ers are good red zone, or that they deserve to not deserve criticism for their lack of red zone production. But if Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are struggling, well, then there you go. But yeah, make no mistake about it, the 49ers need to get better, right? They are not a top 2, top 3, top 4 team right now in the NFL, especially when banged up. And again, the reason why the Chiefs, if you want to blame, the reason why I don't like this is like so extra heightened on Brock Purdy. And I'm not a Brock Purdy super fan. I'm not telling you that I think Brock Purdy's a top 3 quarterback. I'm not saying that. I will take Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, obviously. Like, I will take those guys over Brock Purdy. So I'm not coming here telling you Brock Purdy is the greatest quarterback under the sun. But he does not deserve this blame. Yeah, he played awful. But again, he went 17 for 31, 239 total yards, 2 total touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. And Patrick Mahomes was somehow, even worse, or just marginally better. But they won 28-18 because of his defense. Like, that is the difference. So if you want to blame the 49ers for not taking defense serious enough, and now they can't withstand some of these injuries, I'm okay with that. If you want to say they made the wrong move by firing their DC, or now not making a move in this season for a different defensive coordinator, I know there was talks about getting Robert Saleh or whatnot, that's all fair. But like, to say like Andy Reid and Mahomes find a way, that's where I draw the line. It just doesn't make sense. Patrick Mahomes has been playing awful this season. Awful, awful, awful. Yet the Chiefs are undefeated because of their great defense. The 49ers are not 3-4 or whatever. I think that's where they are, right? 3-4. Because Brock Purdy. Oh, Brock Purdy. Like, that's not fair. Could Brock Purdy play better in other moments? For sure. Has he had a couple bad moments, bad games? Absolutely. But the lineup has been injured. People are in and out, and it's actually more difficult when you have people in and out, quite frankly. At some point, it's just better just to have them out. But, I mean, their whole game plan just got squashed. They thought they were going to have Debo. They thought they were going to have Ayuk. They were down to their 4, 5, 6, 7 wide receivers. That's a tough spot for anybody. And you're talking about doing it against a top defense. Against a top defense. Look what Patrick Mahomes did against a good defense, a decent defense, when he was missing his weapons. You had his game, which was, not good. I have it written down somewhere over here. Right? Mahomes, 16 for 27, 154 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions at a 44 rating. That's the guy we're praising as being unbelievable and finding a way to win? Come on, man. What are we talking about? It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. The 49ers need to be healthy. That's what makes them a great team. I understand Colin saying, see, I told you that they're older and that they have these problems. Okay. How good do you think the Ravens would be if Derrick Henry went down? Not very. How good do you think the Chiefs defense would be if Chris Jones went down? Not as good as it is right now. Like, injuries matter. Are we yelling at Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay because they haven't been able to find a way without Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp and some O-line down? Are we saying, I told you Stafford can't do it. He's not that guy. No. Are we ripping Sean McVay for not being able to find a way? No. So it just doesn't make sense. There's such whiplash with Brock Purdy. Even John Middlecoff, who Colin does his podcast with, last week he's like, Brock Purdy gets way too much hate. He is like the best of the great quarterbacks, not elite quarterbacks, right? He's like, he plays just as good or better than Dak Prescott. He's like, he goes, yes, he's not in the Josh Allen category, in the Patrick Mahomes category, but he's the best out of all those other guys. Stop pretending that what he does, anyone can do. And he was adamant about that. And he said, like, Colin, I think, when Colin did his whole thing, who would you pick over Purdy? John Milkoff was laughing. He goes, Colin, I just think you were dead wrong about that. And they laughed about it, right? But then the other day, John Middlecoff is back on the podcast with Colin and says, Brock Purdy, man, I don't know if I'd pay him. And it's like, you just said, like, literally last week, you just said how great you think he is. And now you're like, oh, this is bad. Brock Purdy, I don't know. And it's like, and I get that people can change their mind. I get it. It's just the way how we have such confidence with one side of the coin, and then a few days later we flip the coin over and have such confidence on the other. If you can't make up your mind, then we should have the humility to admit that and not be so confident in one direction. Because even just this season alone, right? 1 minute Colin is saying, and other people, this isn't against Colin, people are saying Brock Purdy's not the guy. Brock Purdy, he's a franchise quarterback. He's not the guy. He's the best of the rest. Not a guy. He's a top 3 quarterback. Not a guy. It's like the whiplash of it all is insane. I'd rather people just say, I don't know what to make of Brock Purdy. I'm confused. I'm still trying to figure it out. I think he's really good. I'm not sure if he's great. I'm not sure if he can ever be elite. I think he may be more dependent on the people around him than I think, but I don't know because he's also had some great games where he's not. Josh Allen had a terrible game against 2 bad games against the Texans and against the Ravens. I never questioned his greatness, and plenty of fans did, but I don't take those fans very seriously, quite frankly. I'll be honest. But I didn't. And I understand that Brock Purdy has been given gifts, right? When you have Christian McCaffrey and Debo and Ayuk and Shanahan and all of that. But I think he's earned the right. And again, this was a bad game. No question about it. But I think it's just a beautiful example. It's so perfect that Patrick Mahomes played so bad in this game as well. To show you that even great elite GOATs can play awful. And yet they still won despite Patrick Mahomes doing everything and that offense doing everything to give that ball up, to give that game up. But the defense held it down. If the 49ers were actually healthy and they did have Christian McCaffrey, they'd probably win that game easily. I believe that. They win that game. So yes, if you're saying, are the 49ers a great team and a top team when they're missing what makes them special? The answer is no. That's not controversial. The Chiefs are not missing what makes them special right now. What makes them special right now is defense. Again, even John Middlecoff said that yesterday or a couple days ago on the podcast to Colin. He's like, this is a defensive-led team. He said the defense is running the show. So the focus should be on the 49ers more so than Brock Purdy. Because even the question, will he overcome San Francisco's injury issues? Patrick Mahomes is not overcoming the injury issues. The Kansas City Chiefs defense and the team as a whole is overcoming the injury issues. Patrick Mahomes is playing awful. He is not playing good. He has more interceptions than games played. He is playing bad football. Bad football. I don't know why that's such a controversial statement to make. He played not good football last year. Did he get the job done when he needed to? Yes, absolutely. Because he is an all-time great player. Without a doubt. With a great defense and an all-time great head coach. and an all-time great tight end. And last year, he had Rashee Rice, who Colin is saying is a number 1 receiver. And Pacheco, who's a theoretically top running back, just not as popular as a Christian McCaffrey or a Saquon Barkley. So, yes, if we want to unpack the 49ers, I think that's totally fair game. But to put this all on Brock Purdy, I don't think is fair. And it's not fair, especially when he just had a really bad game. Because when he has a really great game and he's still missing all of these weapons, he doesn't get the praise. He never gets the praise. It's asymmetrical. He gets all the blame when he plays bad, none of the praise when he plays good. And I just don't think that's fair. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the San Francisco 49ers, Brock Purdy? Will they be able to overcome their issues? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.